Well, good morning and welcome to this morning's reflection. So come on and sit down and join me this morning as we think a little bit more about why having more time is not necessarily going to help us in our very busy lives. We need to have a different approach to living in order to find a way to cope with the overwhelming demands that we face. So what does Jesus have to say about the epidemic of hurry in which we often find ourselves? As much as we try not to, we are forced into this place of continual hurry. So let's remember this, that Jesus was a rabbi, which is really the Hebrew meaning for the word teacher. And like every rabbi in his day, Jesus had two things. The first is that he had a yoke. Now, a yoke was a common idiom in the first century for a rabbi's way of reading the Torah. But it was also more. It was his set of teachings on how to be human, his way to shoulder the, at times, crippling weight of life, the crippling weight of marriage, divorce, prayer, money, sex, conflict resolution, government, just all of it. It's an odd image for those of us who don't live in an agrarian society. But imagine two oxen yoked together to pull a cart or plough a field. A yoke is how you shoulder the load. What made Jesus unique wasn't that he had a yoke at all. All rabbis had a yoke. It was that he had an easy yoke. Secondly, Jesus had apprentices. In the Hebrew, the word is talmidim. It's usually translated as disciples, and that's just fine. But I think an even better word to capture the idea behind talmidim is apprentice. To be one of Jesus's apprentices meant that you had to organize your life around three basic goals. One was to be with Jesus. The second was to become like Jesus. And the third was to do what he would do if he were you. The whole point of apprenticeship is to model all of your life after Jesus. And in doing so, to recover your soul, to have the warped part of you put back into shape, to experience healing in the deepest parts of your being, to experience what Jesus called life. Life to the full, what the New Testament writers call salvation. Keep in mind that the Greek word that we translate salvation is soteria. And it is the same word we translate as healing. When you read the New Testament and you read that somebody was healed by Jesus, and then you read that somebody else was saved by Jesus, you're reading the same Greek word. Salvation is healing. Even the etymology of our English word salvation comes from the Latin salve, as in an an ointment that you put on a burn or a wound. This is what Jesus was all about: healing people, saving them at a soul deep level. How did he go about doing that? Through apprenticeship to him. So everywhere Jesus went, he was constantly offering an invitation. And usually it sounded like this: come, follow me, or come, be my apprentice. This was Jesus' go-to language for people to come and find healing in an apprenticeship to him. And I simply love that idea. We read in Matthew 11, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Perhaps we need to read it again slowly. Breathe deeply. Let us not rush, for God has something for us in this moment. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. If you read this in Eugene Peterson's paraphrase, it sounds like this: Are you tired? Are you worn out, burned out on religion? Come to me. Get away with me and you will recover your life. I will show you how to take a real rest. Walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me, and you will learn to live freely and lightly. This is an invitation for all the tired, the burned out, the stressed, and all those stuck in traffic and behind on their to-do lists, reaching for another cup of coffee just to make it through the day. Anybody like that out there? I'm sure that there is. In fact, a better question would be, anybody not like that out there? Jesus' invitation is to take up his yoke, to travel through life at his side, learning from him how to shoulder the weight of life with ease, to step out of the burn-out society to a life of soul rest. This sounds great, but let me call out the elephant in the room. How many of you read this invitation of Jesus and think, I think I'm a follower of Jesus as far as I can tell, but honestly I'm exhausted. I'm worn out. I live with low-grade fatigue that rarely goes away. And honestly, I'm a little burned out on religion. What gives? Am I missing something? If you want to experience the life of Jesus, you have to adopt the lifestyle of Jesus. And tomorrow we'll look at what that means. And so for today, remember that Jesus offers you an easy yoke. Amen.